Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim, and today I'm continuing my playthrough of Skies Above Britain. We are on Chapter 4, Patrol number 3. So last time we had the big circle display that we dealt with. Several questions came up about it as I was going through, but I was able to get some clarifications on all that stuff from the designer, Jerry White. So thank you, Jerry, for getting back to me on all that stuff. And I posted, or I edited the video before I put it up to put those clarifications and stuff on screen for you as you're watching through. So hopefully any of you that haven't had to deal with that yet, that will be helpful in sorting out how that works. Also, there was a question on, I wasn't keeping very good track of my escort kills until about halfway through, but I did go back and verify that we did in fact get 5 escort kills on that patrol. So we did get a victory point from that, and we have 1 that will carry over to count toward the next set of 4. All right, I think that's all we need to deal with for preliminaries. So let's jump right in here with our random event roll. Okay, get rid of the box lid there. All right, we're on Chapter 4, Ebb of Battle. So we're using the bottom chart here. And we got a 6, which is going to be another big wing. All right. Looks like it's a pretty decent chance of getting that. 3, actually 4 of the numbers. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so got a 25% chance of getting that. All right, so we'll see. And we did get a couple of clarifications on how the big wing works as well in some special circumstances. So if any of those come up, we should be able to deal with them correctly. So just as a reminder, or if this is the first video you're seeing and didn't see this in action in the previous patrol, so we're going to have a second squadron at our disposal. We've been ordered to operate in conjunction with another squadron. So we'll be using this Squadron 2 marker along with our regular squadron marker. You may rendezvous with that other squadron and make contact with the raid together. Sorry, I wasn't laughing there. I had a cough coming on. This necessitates the following special rules. And so in setup, we always start in the deep zone. When we get this event, Squadron 2 is not in play yet, though. We have to bring it in through a rendezvous. And so prior to contact, we can attempt a rendezvous during the vector step, and only if we're in the deep zone. So we have to stay back there until we rendezvous. We may not move or change altitude in that same step. So it's basically you either do the rendezvous or you do the move / change altitude. You can reform though. So you can reform during the vector step and still attempt a rendezvous, but you cannot do a move and rendezvous. So you have to spend a fuel to do it, and then if you get an even, or you roll a die, and then if you get an even, you're successful. If you get an odd, it fails. And then after your first failure, then you get to roll 2 dice on any future attempts. And if either of them is even, then you're successful. And then one thing that I did get clarification on here is this sentence here: if contact happens before rendezvous, ignore Squadron 2 and deduct 3 VP from your score. this should actually be out on its own sentence here because it's not tied to the odd fail result. In other words, you don't have to fail once before this rule kicks in. It's just, you've been ordered to rendezvous. If you fail to do it, you're going to lose 3 victory points. And someone had asked, can that result in negative victory points for the patrol? And the answer was yes, it can. And then another thing, which isn't actually mentioned here, but when I asked about, whether this was tied to this odd fail result or not, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just in response to the original question. I kind of tagged on to someone else's original question about this. But then Jerry came back with, you lose 3 VP, and then if it happens again and you fail to make rendezvous, you actually lose 5 victory points. So maybe that's something they're going to add in when this gets reprinted or whatever. But it sounds like if you get this event multiple times, and the first time you'd fail to do it, it's minus 3 victory points. But then if you continue to fail on subsequent patrols, it's actually 5 victory points that you lose. All right. And then it's just got some special things here about, I won't read through all of this right now. We looked at it last time. But if any of that stuff, when we get to those particular, I guess when these become relevant, then we'll refer back to here. So that's going to be our event. Let's go ahead and get our pilot roster sorted out here. And let's take a look at who all we can fly this time. All right, so we had 3 that were fatigued last time, so we're definitely not sending them. So that would be Fitzroy, Osgood, he's a regular, and Grant. So I'm actually going to set them off the board so that we know that they're fatigued, ultra fatigued, basically. We won't be using them because if we fly them a 4th mission in a row, then they're going to go straight to the hospital. So we don't want that. All right. Interesting. Okay. So let's see. Who else is also fatigued now? We've got, so we're looking at who flew first and second patrol for this chapter. Now we already know Fitzroy, he's done 3 in a row, and Grant. Okay, Northcott is fatigued. Put him over here. We may end up using him. Osgood, we already know. And Upchurch is the only other one. So Upchurch is also fatigued. All right, wow. That only leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 that aren't fatigued. And then even if we flew Upchurch and Northcott, we'd have to fly Grant, Fitzroy, or Osgood to make a 3rd section. So I don't really see any point in doing that. So it looks like we're just going with 2 sections this time. So we'll make Ellsworth section leader there. Rathbone will be green section leader. And we'll put Birtwistle there and Doggett there. I'll go ahead and move these guys down here now. And now that we've selected our pilots, we can bring White back. And we can roll for our gents in the hospital. So we got Merrington, and move them out of the way just so we can see our table here. So Merrington, looking for a 9 or higher to get him back to duty. There we go. Over with the green pilots. And then we've got Atkinson. Ooh, 3. He is discharged. And then we have Irwin. 11, back to duty. And Hooley, who is our newest ace, but hasn't had an opportunity to utilize his ace skill yet. 4. Nope, he's staying in. Wow, he almost got discharged there. All right. Oh, and I guess I should have mentioned prior to rolling for those, we could have checked for replacements, but we actually weren't short any pilots. But now we are, since Atkinson got discharged. So prior to the next patrol, we'll be able to see if we can get a replacement for him. All right. So I think we are ready to, not ready to start, ready to continue the setup here. As I find my scenario card. Alright, like I said, we don't roll for our position, we just automatically start deep. Since we got the big wing event. Need to get our inbound vector markers placed. Alright, so we got 4 here, another 4 here. 2, 1, and 1. So hopefully it'll work out like it did last time, where we get a bit of a respite here at the beginning. Give us a chance to rendezvous. So probably don't want to see that raid marker in either of those first 2 positions. All right, let's get our starting visibility determined. As always, the red die will be visibility, blue die for sun location if needed. And we got a 4, which is going to be clear sun. 12 is going to put the sun at the tail. We got clear sun with sun at the tail. All right. Now I believe we are ready to start. So let's go to the reveal phase / step. And we've got weather. So that's going to turn it to haze. Don't like that. So now we won't get to see the escorts right away. All right, that's it for the reveal. Then we've got fuel. Not making contact because the raid marker's not out. And we don't want to lose, even if it were, we don't want to lose 3 victory points. So let's go to the vector step / phase. And we are going to attempt to rendezvous. So we're looking for an even die roll result. Yes. Successful rendezvous. So Squadron 2 comes out. I believe it said we couldn't change altitude either, right? It's just rendezvous and or reform. May not move or change altitude in the same step, but it may reform. Oh, right. We had to spend the fuel for that rendezvous attempt. Okay, so that's going to take us back to the reveal step. So we'll reveal this stack of 1, and we have a straggler. Don't think we want to. We don't have. If we had someone lost contact already, it might be worth sending them after that. But in this case, I think not. So yeah, that's going to be it for the for that. So that's going to take us to fuel again. Contact, no, we cannot make contact. They haven't shown up yet. So vector step again. This time we can move or change altitude without spending a fuel, or we can spend a fuel, which we'll do, and move and change altitude. So we're in a good position now. Hopefully that raid marker does show up in this stack. And then we can make contact. But hopefully we don't get both raid markers. Unless we have a tally-ho opportunity in between. All right, so back to the reveal step. A Messerschmitt. All right, let's see how this works with the big wing. There was a bit in there about Messerschmitts. Now, if we were still in the deep zone, this would actually be converted to a straggler result, but we are now in the middle zone, so it is not. Let's see, big wing, Messerschmitts. After rendezvous, if you garner a Messerschmitt result, it is possible that result will apply to Squadron 2 and not your squadron. Roll a die. If even, it affects Squadron 2. Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about this. We could have applied, or we could have assigned one of Squadron 2's sections to attack the straggler. Let's see. If you're a straggler result, you may assign one. If so, attach a -1 section marker, and you basically just automatically get a VP. But the thing is, if we can catch this raid before they drop their bombs and we send the big wing after it, we can score 8 victory points without even really having to do anything, as long as they successfully intercept. So yeah. So I think it was better to ignore that anyway. But right now we have to roll a die. If it's even, then the Messerschmitts will affect Squadron 2. And if it's odd, it will affect us. And it doesn't really say in here, but basically if it affects Squadron 2, then normally what happens is one of the sections gets a Luftwaffe Advantage card, and you do a dogfight. But whenever Squadron 2 is required to dogfight, it just loses one of its sections instead. All right, so let's see. I'm kind of hoping it's our squadron because I want to keep them intact and get that 8 victory points. Let's see what happens. It is odd, so it's us. So it's going to be either a red section or a green section. So we'll do even odd. And it is even, so it's going to be red section. So Messerschmitt's doesn't cause an automatic lost contact, right? I don't believe so. Messerschmitt's. No, it does not. But they do have to spend a fuel. So red section spends a fuel. And I guess now that I'm mentioning that, we don't need yellow or blue fuel cubes up there. Since they didn't come. That's the Christmas squadron again. Just a flight though, actually. So red section is going to get a Luftwaffe Advantage card, and these are always 109s. It's not a heavy escort, so head on with a rota. Section against 109s, they vanish, someone goes low ammo, and someone has to make a collision check. So we will not lose contact since it's over in one round. Let's see who gets the low ammo. 2 is going to be red 3. And then who has to make a collision check? Also red 3. So here's the, I'm glad that wasn't the collision check roll. Here is the collision check roll. 5. So he's safe. All right. And that concludes that. So we can continue on. And we're hoping for a raid marker here. And we do not get it, but the sun, excuse me, the sun does move. So where is it? Even, it goes clockwise. Odd, it goes counterclockwise. And it is odd, so it's going to move to starboard. And then we have some flak. And it is an engine hit. So again, I'm going to put that on the bomber tile stack so I don't forget to apply that when the time comes. All right, and then we have a tally-ho opportunity here. However, we can't make contact with it because the raid marker isn't out yet. We could either move to an adjacent zone or change altitude. You can't do both on a tally-ho at the cost of 1 fuel. However, since this is the last tile in the stack, there's really no reason to do that because we have the vector phase coming up next, since we won't be able to make contact, and we can just move over to here without having to spend the fuel. So save a little fuel doing it that way. So as we said, well, we do spend the fuel for the normal fuel step in the RAID vector sequence. Then we go to contact. We can't make contact because they haven't shown up yet. And vector. So we will move to an adjacent zone. And that's it. So back up to reveal. See, now we're in a pickle because if we get both RAID results in here, we won't have a chance to make contact unless we get another FLAC in between the first and the second. So let's see what happens. Well, there's there's the first one, but we got the FLAC first. Would have been nice if those were in the other order. So we do get another FLAC. It's going to be a fuselage. And again, remember, we are flying Spitfires, but FLAC is always on the Hurricane side. And then the RAID results. So now it comes down, and if it were clear, which it is not, we would roll for the, see where the escorts are. Unfortunately, we don't get to know that information yet. Okay, well, we're hoping for either no second RAID result here, or, which is highly unlikely, I think, or another one that looks like this. So that we get a tally-ho opportunity in between. And no such luck. So as soon as we spot them, they drop their bombs. So these all go away. This moves up to here. And I'm just thinking to myself here because I think, yeah, it's not on the board, unfortunately, but part of this vector step is you also check for escort exits, but of course that's only if the escorts were actually on the map. So had we made, or had the first RAID result occurred and it had been clear, and we made it to the vector step of the RAID vector sequence, then we would have had an opportunity to check for escort exit. But none of those things happened in that order, so didn't get to do that. All right, and then we need to roll to see what the new sun position is. So it's currently on the flank. So if it's even, it goes to the nose. If it's odd, it goes to the other flank. And it is odd, so it's going to go over to port. And yeah, that concludes the reveal step. So now we spend fuel again. And now we can make contact, and we definitely need to do that. So we are in the same zone. This is still considered deep because it's coming off of this, and then actually even if it were still here, it would still be considered deep. It's kind of hard to see these. I never noticed these until kind of recently. You see how there's this dividing line here, that white bar there, and then there's another one here. And you see in this very light text, it says deep, middle, middle, and then coast. So once they're on the outbound track, this space is considered deep zone. These 3 are middle, and then these 9 are all coast. All right, so We are in the same zone, so we don't have to spend a fuel for this. We are high, so we get a +1 modifier. So yeah, let's see what do we get. We got an 8, which becomes a 9. Just one short of being able to come out of the sun. So we can either come flank low, flank high, or nose low. Now nose low is interesting actually, because normally that's kind of bad because you don't get you have the penalty if you come in nose low that you don't get disruption results on the first go round. But we don't care about disruption results because they've already dropped their bombs. But then the other thing is we're probably going to want to send Squadron 2 after the bombers, so it's kind of irrelevant anyway, because they're just going to automatically get 4 victory points. Which I think is the better choice since we only have 2 sections. I think it'd be pretty hard pressed for us to get 4 victory points just from shooting down bombers with only 6 aircraft available to us. So the key here really is which position is going to give us a better chance of intercepting. And unfortunately, we don't know where the escorts are, so that's going to be kind of just a guess on our part. So our options are flank low, flank high, or nose low. Well, let's look at flank high versus flank low. And I think probably, I mean, we'll just look at the 109s. I think 110s are, going to be relatively the same. It looks like no matter where we have escort stations, flank high is superior as far as being able to intercept than flank low. So we'll definitely either go high or low, or flank high or nose low. Now nose low compared to flank high is worse if they're in the, obviously if they're toward the front. If they're in the lead or the ahead, it's worse. If they're on a flank, it's either the same or worse, depending on, same side or opposite side. But then if they're in the high position, I guess that's the only one that coming in nose low would give us an advantage, a pretty significant advantage. If we have something in the high station. So what are our odds of getting an escort in the high station? So this one includes high, this one. So really only 3 through 6 would give us something in the high station. The problem is this would also give us something in the ahead station, so it would actually be worse. I mean, it's not worse than being flank high and them being in the high station, but I don't know. I'm almost thinking we just come in flank high and hope that we don't get something in the high station. Or if it is high station, are they always 109s? Yeah. Because I was going to say 110s in the high station aren't nearly as bad, but doesn't look like that's a possibility. But yeah, as long as we can get as long as we can get a 6 or higher, or no, sorry, 6 does have high. So 7 or higher. So there's a 50% chance of that, and then even a 1 or a 2 would be all right. I mean, we're still looking at needing an 8 if they're on starboard or flank. But then the other thing to keep in mind too is we still have our 2 sections to try to suppress whatever the problem point is. But I think flank high is going to be our better choice for this. And actually, I didn't even think about this, is we don't necessarily have to both come in from the same position. So you have the option to adjust or not adjust with each squadron. So we could have, our squadron come in flank low. That way we wouldn't have to spend the fuel. We're getting somewhat close to the low fuel bit there. Because then all we're talking about is whether or not we get an RAF advantage card versus a Luftwaffe advantage card. So yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we have the Squadron 2 adjust to flank high, but then our squadron just comes, which can actually just be Flight A, now that I think about it. They can come in flank low. Yeah, let's do that. So then the question is which flank, and again, it's kind of a guessing game here. So we'll have Squadron 2 come in flank high. Actually, that gives them the out of the sun bonus. Yeah, so we definitely want to do that. Have them come in port side, and we'll have ours come in from the starboard side. So yeah, actually I didn't think about that. So yeah, with them coming in out of the sun, they actually get to roll 2 dice and add them together for the interception check. So now I did ask about whether Squadron 2 could spend a fuel to re-roll. And I put spend a fuel in quotes because, they don't really have fuel to spend. And Jerry responded with no, they may not spend fuel, which I'm not sure if that means no, they can't attempt a re-roll because they can't spend fuel, or if it means no, they don't spend fuel because they don't have fuel to spend, but they're still allowed to re-roll. Because they are allowed to make an adjustment, even though they don't technically spend fuel to do that. So I kind of thought the re-roll would work the same way. But he made it kind of sound like no, they can't do it at all. So hopefully we won't need to find out. All right, so that's where we're going to come in, or the way we're going to approach the bomber formation. So that's going to take us to the interception sequence now with the orders phase. And we're going to give, and remember, you can't send both squadrons after the bombers. Only one of the squadrons can engage the bombers. So we're going to send Squadron 2 after the bombers, and we are going to go after the escorts. And I guess now that we've made contact, we do get to find out where they are and what they are. And I guess technically this is before we assign the orders, but matter where they end up, that's what we're going to do. Oh, good. We did get no high stations. So, unfortunately, they're in both port and starboard, so they're going to affect both of us. And they're both 109 heavies. Okay. So we're going to want to try to suppress the escorts that are on the same side as the bombers. Because for their interception check, now we know what we're actually looking at. They're coming in flank high. So if they have escort station on the same side, then they need an 8 or higher. If it's only on the other side, then they need a 4 or higher. Sorry, I was pointing at the 110 row, but it's this one. So 8 or higher if from these guys, but only 4 or higher if we're able to suppress them, and the only escorts then are on the opposite side. So we will have our flight go after the heavy 109s in the port station. So we'll need to do an interception check for that. We do have 2 veteran section leaders here, so theoretically we could add their pluck, but I don't know that it's worth it just to get an RAF advantage versus a Luftwaffe advantage, but we'll see. If we're like 1 short of it, maybe I'll use one of theirs to do that. But we're coming in flank low, and they are on the opposite side. So we do have to spend a fuel to do this. And we need an 11, so yeah, probably not going to happen. But we'll see. Nine. So I could use both of their plucks to make that successful. Is that worth doing? Just to get an RAF advantage card. I guess it'd be RAF advantage cards because each one would get an RAF advantage card then instead. You know what? We very rarely see RAF advantage cards, so let's do it. It might not be the most sensible thing to do, because otherwise they could do some of these fancy things like practiced maneuver, pull tight, stay trim, should say stay trim, or follow my lead, which are all good things to have available to you in a dogfight. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe these RAF advantage. I mean, I know they're not that much better, but like I said, we rarely get to see them, so why not? When we have the opportunity here, why not make it happen? All right. Since we were given an escort order, we automatically go lost contact. We'll mark both sections as lost contact. We come off. We'll hang on to this marker just in case we get to use the other side of it. Hopefully. In fact, we'll set it right next to them there. Hopefully we'll need to use it. All right, so RAF advantage card for each of these guys. We'll do red section first. And we're tailing a swarm. Where are you? Green only. A green pilot breaks off and returns to base. If an independent RAF fighter, the dogfight is canceled. Okay, we do have Tremble, who is a green fighter. So he's going to break off and return to base. So we'll put his fighter over there. I guess we didn't need to take his pilot marker off of here. Whoops. All right, so it's down to just the two of us tailing a swarm. Now we could just let them go, but I'd kind of like to get that +1 to be able to suppress them, because let's see what we're going to be needing here. We're sent 4 to 7, and they're heavy, so we're going to need at least a 5 to suppress them. I guess that's true. I should have saved. I didn't think about that. I should have saved my pluck for that, dummy. Oh well, too late now. So yeah, let's go after him. So we're gonna pull a head-on and tailing card. And we are tailing 109s, and we are a section. So a green pilot becomes loose, but he already did. We do get a kill, nice. Someone goes low ammo, but then we get some reinforcements behind us. That's not good. All right, so let's see who gets the kill. So it'll be even for red leader, odd for red 2. And it's red leader, which is Ellsworth. So let's make sure we mark this down correctly this time. Ellsworth, that's his 3rd escort kill. He's also got 2 bomber kills. And we've got 1 escort kill for the patrol. Down as Squadron 2 from the last patrol. Just to note that those bomber kills were from Squadron 2. All right, what else we got here? Low ammo. Let's see who goes low ammo. That's going to be red 2. And then we get reinforcements on our tail. Yeah, it suddenly got kind of hairy here. Oh, almost forgot. This gets flipped to here since we shot one down. And that concludes the first round of dogfighting. So now we go to round 2. We would do head-on first, then tailed. And then we'll do the tailing last. So for the tailed, thinking maybe we want to try to do a slip. I guess no matter if we choose a maneuver, then we're automatically letting these guys go, which I think is fine. Do we want to try a slip, or do we want to try it? I mean, we got our kill, so we don't really need to get any more other than trying to rack up some victory points. So I'm thinking maybe we do a slip. Let's try that. We don't get to do a slip very often. So we let these guys go. And we're hoping to get a slip result then on our tailed card. So it's a section against 109s. We did not. We should have done a turn. So they vanish, but we take a hit. gets that hit. It is red leader. Ooh, it's a bad one. Wing 10. Roll for that. Ooh, we made it. Nice. All right. And if they weren't already lost contact, they would now be lost contact because that went 2 rounds. Okay, next up is green section. And they are head on. And if it were a heavy escort, which it is, we also get tailed. So, not sure I see the advantage here, but so be it. So head on and tailed. So head on first. Section against 109s. They vanish. We take one of them out. Somebody goes low ammo and somebody gets hit. So let's see who goes low ammo. 11 is going to be green 2. Let's see who gets hit. Also green 2. And then because we... Oh, another bad one. Because we garnered a hit, we will not be able to do a maneuver against these guys. And let's see who gets the kill. Should only be appropriate, it's green 2 as well, right? Nope. That would be green 3. Bird's whistle. That's our second escort kill for the patrol. And Bird's whistle, that's his second escort kill as well. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot to check before we started? Did any of our green pilots become regular, and or did any of our regular pilots become veterans? Let's take a look here. Who are our greens that we got? Tremble. 1, 2, 3, 4. I forgot to mark who's flying this patrol too. So this will be his, or actually, yeah, he has flown 4. So Tremble is no longer green. So actually, I messed that up. He did not RTB. Because he's a regular pilot now. I don't think that made a difference other than who might have gotten those other results, but that's okay. Doesn't really affect anything. Let's see, Grant is not, he's only flown 3. Merrington's only flown 2. So he's our only green pilot that is no longer green. I do need to mark down who flew this patrol though. So Tremble, Ellsworth, Doggett, Birtwistle, Rathbone, and Pertwee. All right, was anyone supposed to be promoted to veteran prior to this patrol? So let's see, Doggett, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is his 7th, so no. Birtwistle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is his 10th. So yeah, he's actually now a veteran. So I probably shouldn't have had him in green 3 since I usually, it doesn't really matter, but I usually try to put the lowest ranking guy in 3, basically next highest in 2, and then the senior in the lead. So yeah, he's a veteran. Who else? Anybody else? Pertwee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Pertwee too. He's a veteran now as well. So that's good to know. You might need that for his fate box checks. All right, and then anyone that came off the line, let me see. Fitzroy and Osgood. Osgood has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So one more for Osgood. And Fitzroy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he needs 2 more. All right, I think that's it. Glad I caught that before the end of the patrol. All right, where were we? We just resolved our head-on, right? Did we do everything? Did we give the kill to... Yeah, we gave Birtwistle the kill, right? Yeah. Mark down second escort kill of the patrol. And we did the low ammo, we did the hit, and we did the vanish. Yeah, so that one's done. So now we're being tailed and we cannot perform a maneuver. Section against 109s. So another hit, spend a fuel, and they get reduced. So green section has to spend a fuel. And someone takes a hit. 9 is going to be, well, I hate to say it, but I was kind of hoping it would be Pertwee again. And this one's a rudder 8. All right, now we do the hit checks. So we'll do red die for the fuselage 11 and blue die for the rudder 8. So fuselage it is. Over here, and let's put his pilot marker on there just so we remember he's a veteran. Okay, that has not used his privilege. And we're not done yet. Still got one on our tail. This time we can maneuver. And I think we will... I think we just want to evade here. Because that way we'll get rid of him for sure. And hopefully be able to choose something not too bad. Well, it's either a hit or a green pilot and a hit. A green pilot hit and a hit. We have no green pilot, so they're essentially the same. So we are taking a hit, unfortunately, but then the automatic reduction causes them to go away. So who's getting this one? Even odd this time. It's going to be green 3, Birtwistle. There we go. Lower number this time. Fuselage 5. Oh, we missed it. All right. Well, he's still got his veteran privilege as well, so he can potentially give himself a +1 on these rolls if needed. All right, that's going to do it for our escort interception. So now to find out if it was worth the price we paid. So heavy station size. We sent 6 fighters. So we need a 5 to suppress, a 9 to reduce. And we get a +1 because at least 1 German fighter was destroyed. It's not +1 per German fighter, just either you got some or you didn't. So we need at least a 4, preferably 8 or higher. 6. So they are suppressed but not reduced. All right, so now we go to the, we're still in the intercept phase. We resolve our bombers order. So they will need to make an interception check. They are, where'd my chart go? Here it is. They are flank high. They have escort station on the other side of their flank. Or the other flank, I should say. So they need a 4 higher. They're coming out of the sun, so we can either roll 2 dice and add the numbers together, or in the initial attack, ignore all hit results. Well, you don't actually resolve Squadron 2's attack, so there's no reason to choose that. So we will roll 2 dice and add the numbers together, looking for a 4 or higher. We got it. So, referring back to the big wing rules. When Squadron 2 intercepts the bombers, place its formation marker in the middle of the interception map to signify that its fighters are approaching bombers. Do not initiate the bomber cycle. If interception happens while the raid marker is on the inbound row of the raid track, it is not. Earn 2 victory points for each section. Otherwise, earn 1 victory point for each section. And Squadron 2 is fully intact. So they earn 4 victory points. So again, we'll just mark those as if they were bomber kills, since isolating doesn't count. And we'll denote that they were from Squadron 2. And then Squadron 2 performs no more actions and is out of play. So, but we'll just leave them there for the time being to show that that's what they did. But I think we're pretty much done at this point. Because even though Section 2 has lost contact, they're not allowed to chase to get back into the bomber formation. I mean, they could chase. Well, Green 2 cannot, or Green Leader, since he's on his own now, cannot perform chase because there is no bomber formation area for him to enter, because only 1 squadron's fighters are allowed to do that. And then we could have Red Section chase to get back on the interception map to have another go at the escorts, but just to try to get some victory points, but I don't think it's worth doing that. So We go to the entropy phase. There's no fighters in the bomber formation area. Therefore, there's no reaction. We go to the chase step, and all of our lost contact fighters will RTB. And patrol complete, yes. So we can resolve our Fate box results now. Remember, they each still have their veteran privilege available. So we'll start with Pertwee. He needs an 8 or higher. Red die will be the initial results. Blue die will be their fate if they don't manage to get to the hangar. So a 1 is he caught on fire, but then with a 9, and using pluck wouldn't improve that. So, and then the 9 is a successful bailout. So Pertwee manages to bail out. And I guess I should have checked, but obviously we weren't over the channel. So no channel recovery marker. So no need to check that. So we'll go to the bailout box. And then same thing for Birtwistle. He gets a 7, so he crashes. Ooh, actually, so we'll use his pluck to make that 7 and 8. And he will actually make it back to the hangar. So put him back over here. Rotate to show his privilege has been used, although at this point it's irrelevant. And that's that. So let's look at our final results for the patrol. We managed 2 escort kills. We needed 1 more, though, to get another victory point. So the next one we get will garner us a victory point. We have 4 victory points that Squadron 2 earned for us. So that's going to be our score for the patrol. We had 1 pilot bail out, none wounded, none killed. I mean, knock on wood, we've managed no KIAs so far for the patrol, or for the chapter, I mean. Although we did have 1 pilot discharged from the hospital. Yeah, so that's going to wrap this patrol up. We're currently sitting on 20 victory points for the chapter. So, like I said, we're already out of the disaster range, so we do have a victorious campaign in the bag, so to speak, because we've had 2 excellent outcomes and no disasters. But so we're at 20 VP. We need to get to 41 to make this a successful patrol. 65 for an excellent. So we shall see how it progresses over the last 5 patrols. But that's where we are for now. All right. That will wrap things up for this episode of Skies Above Britain. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends. Subscribe if you want to, and hit that notification bell if you want to get notified when I post new videos. And that will do it. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.